Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The faint hum of the television filled the living room as Virginia sat cross-legged on the worn-out carpet, scribbling a math problem in her notebook. Across the room, her older sister Cecilia lounged on the couch, flipping through a glossy fashion magazine. Their mother walked in carrying a tray of freshly baked cookies. She placed it on the coffee table but nudged it closer to Cecilia without so much as a glance at Virginia. "Cecilia, sweetheart, don't forget about your piano recital tomorrow," their mother said, her voice brimming with pride. "I've ironed your dress and booked a table at La Vie for dinner afterward to celebrate." Virginia looked up, hopeful for a shred of acknowledgement. "Mom, I got an A on my science project today," she ventured, her voice quiet but eager. Their mother barely paused. "That's nice, dear," she said dismissively, already turning back to Cecilia. "Now, Cecilia, remember to smile for the photographers. It's important to look confident." Virginia's stomach churned as she watched her sister beam under their mother's adoration. She bit her lip and returned to her notebook, the numbers blurring on the page. Later that evening, their father arrived home, his booming voice filling the house. "Girls, I brought something for you." He pulled out a sleek new phone and handed it to Cecilia, who squealed with delight. "And for me?" Virginia asked hesitantly, her heart pounding. Her father frowned slightly, as if puzzled by her question. "Virginia, you don't need distractions. Focus on your studies, all right?" The rejection stung more than she wanted to admit. She retreated to her room, clutching her notebook like a lifeline. As she sat on her bed, a familiar voice broke the silence. "Why do you even try?" Cecilia stood in the doorway, twirling her new phone in her hand. "They'll never see you the way they see me." Virginia's chest tightened, but she met her sister's gaze. "Because I'm worth more than they think." Cecilia smirked. "Keep dreaming, little sis." That night, Virginia stared at the ceiling, vowing silently to herself. One day, she would prove them all wrong. One day, they would have no choice but to notice her. The seed of determination was planted, watered by years of neglect, and she had no idea how strong its roots would grow. Virginia sat at the kitchen table, her acceptance letter to Westbridge University trembling in her hands. The joy she'd felt just hours ago had already been replaced by a heavy knot in her stomach. She had overheard her parents' whispered conversation earlier. "University? For Virginia? A waste of time and money. Virginia, you're aiming too high," her mother had said bluntly when she brought up the subject. "You're better off finding a job or maybe taking a few vocational classes." That evening she dialed her grandparents' number, her voice shaking as she explained the situation. Her grandmother's voice, warm and steady, cut through her despair. "Come over tomorrow, dear," Grandma said firmly. "We'll figure this out together." The next morning, Virginia arrived at her grandparents' modest home. The scent of fresh brewed coffee greeted her, and her grandfather, a quiet man with weathered hands, motioned her to sit. "You've worked hard for this," her grandmother began, sliding a plate of biscuits in front of her. "Your parents might not see it, but we do." "But the tuition," Virginia hesitated, her voice cracking. "It's too much." Her grandfather, who had been silent until now, cleared his throat. "We've been thinking about selling the old property upstate. It's just sitting there anyway." Virginia's head shot up. "No, Grandpa. That's your retirement. You can't do that." "We can," he said firmly. "And we will. You've got a chance to build a future, Virginia. We're not letting you throw it away." Tears welled in her eyes as she looked between them. "I don't even know what to say." "Say you'll make us proud," her grandmother said with a soft smile. The following weeks were a whirlwind of paperwork and goodbyes. As her grandparents finalized the sale of the property, Virginia packed her belongings and prepared for a new chapter in her life. On the day she left for college, her grandfather handed her a small envelope. "Just a little extra," he said gruffly, avoiding her gaze. Opening it later, Virginia found a handwritten note. "Your dreams are worth every penny." As the bus pulled away from the station, she clutched the note tightly, a mix of gratitude and determination swelling in her chest. She wouldn't let their sacrifice be in vain. She would prove she was worth it. The first months at Westbridge University were a battlefield for Virginia. Her classmates, polished and confident, arrived in designer clothes, while she rotated through her modest wardrobe, Every step into the lecture hall felt like walking into an arena where she had something to prove, not just to them but to herself. Late one evening, after hours of studying, Virginia received a call from her grandmother. "How are you holding up, sweetheart?" "I'm surviving," Virginia replied, trying to mask the exhaustion in her voice. Her grandmother's tone softened. "You're doing more than that. We've always believed in you. Don't forget why you're there." Her grandparents' faith became her fuel. Virginia took on part-time work at the campus library, juggling shifts between classes and study sessions. She spent countless nights poring over textbooks, her eyes burning, but she refused to falter. One day, after a particularly grueling exam, her professor, Dr. Langston, stopped her on the way out. "Virginia," he said, glancing at her paper, "you've done exceptionally well. Your analysis stood out." She blinked, caught off guard. "Thank you, sir. I didn't think it was that good." His lips curved into a rare smile. "Modesty is admirable, but don't sell yourself short. Keep it up." That small moment ignited something within her, a flicker of confidence she hadn't felt in years. Slowly, her efforts began to pay off. Professors noticed her diligence and classmates began seeking her out for group projects. But the past still loomed. One weekend, her mother called, her voice clipped. "Your father says you're wasting your time there. You'll never fit in with those people." Virginia gripped the phone, her knuckles white. "I'm not wasting anything. For the first time, I'm building something for myself." Her mother scoffed. "You've always been too stubborn for your own good." As the call ended, Virginia sat in silence, her chest tight with anger and resolve. They didn't believe in her, but she didn't need them to. She had her own fire now, and it was growing stronger with every step forward. Years later, Virginia stood on the balcony of her sleek apartment, gazing at the city lights. It was a far cry from the cramped dorm room where she once studied late into the night. Her career in investment management had blossomed beyond her wildest dreams. Yet, the triumphs she cherished came at a price. Once she was reminded of when her phone buzzed with an unexpected message. It was from Cecilia. "We need to talk. Call me." Curious but wary, Virginia dialed. Cecilia answered immediately, her voice saccharine yet laced with urgency. "Ginny, it's been so long. We miss you." Virginia bristled at the feigned warmth. "What do you want, Cecilia?" There was a pause, then the real reason emerged. "Well, the thing is, Ethan and I are planning our wedding, and we need some help. Financially." Virginia's heart hardened. "How much?" "Only $170,000, Cecilia said, as if the sum was insignificant. "You're doing so well. It's not like you'd even miss it." The audacity was staggering. Virginia's voice was calm but icy. "You mean the same family that told me I wasn't worth investing in now expects me to fund your wedding?" "Don't be dramatic," Cecilia snapped. "We're family. This is what family does." Virginia's laugh was bitter. "Funny. I don't recall you being there when I needed help. I think you'll have to manage without me." Cecilia's tone turned sharp. "You're being selfish, Virginia. And you're entitled," Virginia shot back. "Good luck with your wedding." She hung up, her chest tight but resolute. For years she carried the weight of their rejection, striving to prove herself. Now, she saw the truth. Their approval no longer mattered. As she leaned against the railing, the city lights flickered like a promise. She was no longer the overlooked girl in the shadows. She was her own beacon, and she owed them nothing. Virginia sat in her grandparents' cozy living room, the soft hum of their old clock filling the silence. They had aged noticeably in the years since they sold their home to fund her dreams, but their love for her had never wavered. Tonight she wanted to thank them, but something weighed heavier on her mind. "I said no to Cecilia," Virginia began, breaking the quiet. Her voice trembled slightly. "They wanted me to pay for her wedding." Her grandmother, knitting quietly, looked up with a kind but knowing smile. "And how did that feel?" "Liberating," Virginia admitted, a small smile forming. "But part of me wonders if I was too harsh." Her grandfather set down his mug of tea and leaned forward. "Virginia, forgiveness isn't about letting them take advantage of you again. It's about setting yourself free. You've done more than enough for them by becoming the woman you are today." Before she could respond, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Cecilia. "You'll regret this. Don't think we'll ever forget how selfish you've been." Virginia exhaled deeply and handed the phone to her grandfather. He read it, his expression unreadable, then handed it back. That's not your burden anymore, he said simply. The next morning, Virginia stood on the porch, suitcase in hand. She had decided to take a much-needed trip, away from the noise, the guilt, and the manipulations. Her grandparents hugged her tightly, their pride in her palpable. "Go live your life, Jenny," her grandmother whispered. "You've earned it." Virginia decided to thank her grandparents for all their kindness and support they gave her in life. A month after returning from the trip, Virginia bought them a tour to Hawaii in a 5-star hotel for a whole month. While they vacationed in Hawaii, Virginia bought a spacious home for her grandparents and made modern renovations there. And you must always remember that kindness returns with a boomerang, and this is the law.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.